Heyo, welcome everyone to Today in the Scene by Indie Arcade Wave. I'm Joe, your host, and here on In the Scene, we dive into what's happening in the arcade space, from new arcade owners, arcade developers, and operators, just news in the space in general. Now, we do have the website up for Indie Arcade Wave if you're looking to add a new indie game to your arcade or your personal collection, so go check that out and let us know what you want to add. Now, we've got a cool arcade from Michigan today. Bad Axe Retrocade is I wouldn't say small. It's not a large. I mean, we're not talking Galloping Ghosts here, but they have a large collection of games and some very unique pinballs as well. And I'm joined by Shar today, who's going to kind of go over, like what they have and how everything started. So, how you doing?
Pretty good today. Excited to talk about the arcade.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know we've connected on TikTok a little bit, kind of went back and forth. I saw some of your stuff, you saw some of mine. We chatted, and here we are. So, just introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and how you got into video games in the first place.
Yeah. So I'm Shar, and I'm an 80s baby. So naturally, I grew up right away with Super Nintendo or Nintendo. And then, of course, that led to Super Nintendo and Sega and all the fun games. And it was something to do with my brother when we were little. We were lower income, but my dad loved gaming. So we knew we would get the games. And I got married to my husband, and he also loved gaming. So we would, when we'd go on little dates, we don't have arcades in our area, but we would drive to the Bay City area in Saginaw and game there. And yeah, about 7 years ago, we bought a PacMan, and that really just kicked it off. And we started just collecting after that.
Yeah, sounds like a pretty normal story for an arcade owner. You get one, then you have too many all of a sudden, you need somewhere to go with them. Kind of tell us about that first cabinet, Shar. Like why did you get that first cabinet and what was it?
So, like I said, Pac-Man was our first one, and we are in a super rural area, and there hasn't been an arcade in our area in about 50 years. And when we saw Pac-Man for sale, we were so shocked. And we don't have a lot of money, but we were like, it's a Pac-Man, you have to get it. So we're like, forget about it. So we got it, and our kids fell in love, and we had so much fun battling and playing together. And we're like, okay. It had a few bugs. My husband's super tech savvy, so he figured out all that and like I said, from there it was kind of like, how do we get more?
And how did you go about that? I mean, I know we spoke a little bit beforehand, but were you able to find more stuff in your area? Like, how were you sourcing arcade games at that point?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So we started just getting those arcade one-up type games from Walmart because we didn't think there was anything around. And my husband has an automotive shop in our town, and some people came in and said, I see you've got this Pac-Man and you like games. I've got a bunch of games you might want. And he freaked out and I freaked out. And again, not a lot of money, but we're like, let's be financially irresponsible because gaming is fun. So Arlen Bannock was the gentleman, and he used to have a coin op type business in our community. And he was about 100 years old last year, and he passed away sadly. But a bunch of his items were in this warehouse that was kind of unfortunately dilapidated, and raccoons were in there. And they're like, we just want to get rid of these. So my husband went and checked them out, and they had buck hunter and pole position and some old cabinets. Some of them had monitors, some didn't. And as he got going, he's like, how much for all of it? So he bought this huge collection of mostly unwell games and decided we'll just have them. At this point, we didn't think about owning an arcade, but again, game love and financial irresponsibility, we're just like, this is too cool to pass up because nothing like this happens here. So we were sitting one day after fixing up some of the games, and I said, what if we opened an arcade? And my husband's like, you're nuts. I'm like, well, a little bit, but in our area there hasn't been anything like this. And after the pandemic, things have been hard in our area. Mental health has been a real problem, and we're just like, I don't know, why not?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you've got the games, you're working on them, you're trying to get them fixed up. There's no arcades near you. I mean, I don't know exactly how far those cities are that you mentioned, but I'm thinking you're driving at least like 45 minutes, right, to get to an arcade.
Yep, about an hour. We visited a place called Crazy Quarters. I don't
Okay.
know if anyone's heard of that, but cool little place in Bay City. This was before they moved into their large location. And we were in love. We're like, what if we did this? And we're like, no, 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 no. At that point, we hadn't even gotten any of these cabinets, but we just thought it would never make it in Bad Axe. There's just something about rural life. You know, we have 3 stoplights. There's not a lot. There's lots of cows, but will an arcade go over? And we just kept watching them grow and seeing what they did, and we're like, maybe, just maybe. And if we fail, so what? I think sometimes you just have to try things because it's worth a shot.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's worth a try, right? You don't have any arcades near you, so you don't have
Mm-mm.
competitors, and you're in a
Right.
small town, so rent's probably not too bad. You know, like it's probably manageable as long as you can get a decent amount of traffic through the arcade.
Yeah, when we were first looking for a location, so we announced we wanted to open in October of last year. And people thought we were crazy. You know, people were like, that's not going to work. It didn't work 50 years ago. Modern gaming is now a new thing. People can put the most cool technology in their home. Why would they go to an arcade? And we're like, community. Like, we don't have a lot of third spaces here. We have churches and bars and schools, but not a lot else for maybe the nerdy type people. And when we announced it, people loved it. They were like, when are you doing this? Where are you doing this? And we're like, we have no idea. It's so small here. There wasn't a lot of places to rent. And actually, some of the places were outrageous in price. So we saw a place next to our local bowling alley that there was a woodworker, and we'd heard he was not going to be in business a lot longer. So we called the landlord and said, might this be available soon? Yep. When do you want to look at it? And we negotiated a price what we thought would be fair for starting out, and that was it. I divine timing.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you found a pretty good location. I saw some pictures of you guys like painting and kind of fixing the area up on the Facebook page. So let's talk about how you repaired all these cabinets, how you found the cabinets. Like, did you find more collections than just this one? Because I was looking through your guys' pinballs, and you have some stuff that you don't find. Like, these are very uncommon pins.
Yeah. So once people saw what we were doing and they did say it was crazy, they were like, we want in on this. Guess what? We see this one in the marketplace, or my buddy has this one, or so and so has this one. So my husband was on Marketplace and he found a cabinet or two from a arcade owner in Lapeer, Axcadia. They do axe throwing and have an arcade set up. And he was getting rid of some stuff that was moving out because it wasn't making him money. And we thought, well, maybe it'll make money here. We didn't know because we've never had an arcade. We didn't know what games would work and what wouldn't. So we're like, we'll try anything because we just want to have games. So he had some connections that he shared with us, and a guy had some pins, and we said, well, let's lease some pins from him and start out with that. After our first 2 weekends in business, we saw how well we were doing. So we got a loan, a small loan, and bought 3 or 4 pins from him. And they were all we had in mind. We really wanted Pinbot. Hyperball was kind of dumped on us because I don't think the people wanted to mess with it because they said it was fickle. But my husband, ADHD, right? So that tech brain, he's just like, I'll figure it out. He had that baby working, and it's probably one of our most popular pins, although some people don't consider it a pinball, but people love it.
Yeah, I love Pinball. I was just playing it last night actually. Kelly, who coded for Galactic Battleground, and he found one in a barn that had a quail's nest in it and restored it from where it was. And we were playing that last night, and that is a tremendously difficult pinball. It is very punishing. No ball
Yeah.
save. They
I
give you the extra ball if you drain too fast. Like it's it's not nice to people that aren't great
Yeah,
at pinball.
I finally scored 2 million on that recently, and it took if I didn't own the pin and have my own quarters to put into it, I wouldn't have gotten that far. But multi-ball, that game is dang, it's addicting, so
Yeah,
fun.
it's a fun one. I think I'm at like 700K is like the best I've scored on that, but I play it
Yeah,
pretty
you can do
rarely.
it.
Yeah, I'll get a little bit better at it. Okay, let's talk about a little bit more of like the business aspects. So we understand how you got the games, how you found the location, and everything. What is it like running an arcade on a daily basis? Like, what are some things that you're learning? Because you guys are still fresh, right? So you're kind of learning as you go. What are some things that you've already improved on since you opened?
That's such a great question because we don't know anything about arcade ownership other than what we've learned in the 4 months we've been open. I think the most exciting thing that we've noticed is our social media marketing I spend most of my time on is, like, kind of convincing people that it's fun and that they will like this because I think they're still, "Why would I wanna do this?" So, almost convincing people that it's a good time, and the fixing and the repairing, we were so worried that this would take up so much of our time, and we had a couple, I guess, gremlin-y weeks, but other than that, it's been not too shabby, but keeping people interested because it's such a new thing here, and it's not something that we're creatures of habit in rural places. I don't know if it's like that other areas, but here, people kinda get set in their routine and their life, and they don't deviate a whole lot, and they also like to see who's going in and what type of people are going in to see, it's an interesting place to live, and I love it, but so now people are like, "What's going on in there?" And so, word of mouth, so really getting people to be excited about it and saying, "Hey, will you share this? Will you let people know what's going on?" Because quarters are our main way of income, and that's not a lot. We have some fun gift items. People love retro themed gifts, earrings, some of that kitschy kind of stuff. We have a retro console room. So we've got 5 TVs, 5 consoles, and it's $3 for a wristband. And that does really well. People come in, a lot of moms, it's really funny, like my age, who come in and their kids are going around playing the games, and mom's sitting in there playing Duck Hunt, you know? So it's getting people to still latch onto this idea because 4 months here isn't a lot of time to still get people, even though we are such a small area, getting people in. And summer has been challenging in certain ways because a lot of people leave, but just staying consistent, I think, is the most important thing right now is consistently putting on social media, showing the games, even how to use the games. I made a how to play multiplayer on pinball because we have people who come in who've never been into an arcade and have never played pinball, and they kind of go by and they don't know what to do, but teaching them how to play in an arcade, I guess, is what I'm working on now is getting people to know how to come in and have a good time.
Yeah, I feel like part of the arcade ownership is education. Like you got to teach people about these games, where they came from, who made them, how to fix them, how to play them even. Because I've gone to arcades. I mean, I'm just outside of Minneapolis, so we have a lot of arcades near me.
Yeah.
And I've gone into arcades that have pinball and they just have credits sitting on them. Like people don't even know how to start the game. So obviously showing people how to play multiplayer is huge, and that brings the community in. And that's
Mhm.
kind of the next thing I wanted to talk about is what do you guys do for the community? Like I've seen a lot of events with kids in the arcade, and you're trying to, teach the next generation like this is a cool thing, this is what we used to do. So
Mhm.
kind of give me an idea of like how you're introducing it to the youth and how you're bringing the community together.
Yeah, excellent. So, right before we even opened, we have a small city parks and rec program, and the leader messaged me right away, "Can we be in there for our city parks and rec program?" And we're like, "Sure." I was terrified because we hadn't even opened yet, and we weren't even sure what all would be in there. We also joined on Little Flippers, which, if you're not familiar, it's an organization to get youth into pinball. So we signed up with them. It's free to start introducing young kids to using pinball. And we have a skee ball league coming up. So it's a lot of it's getting to the parents. So having the parents say, do this with your kids, find these things to do with your kids. So it's always trying to reach out, talk to people, running into people, being a parent myself, just talking to other parents and saying, bring those kids in.
Yeah, I mean that's it. You got to get the youth in there. You got to get involved with the community and introduce the next generation of pinball, because pinball right now is exploding. Like across the country, it is just growing like crazy. Every arcade I see is running leagues or adding pinballs to their collection and things like that. So we're seeing it grow constantly, which is great. I think that's a great sign for everybody. Let's talk about your 5 favorite games. I know it's usually hard as a collector to kind of narrow it down, but what are your 5 favorite games that you have in the arcade?
Yeah. Oh, that's tough because I play so many of them. Every time I'm in, I'm gonna go to Pinbot because I love that challenge because I'm not a great pinball player, but I want to get good at it because I don't know, ego or something maybe. I love 1942. I know it's just a simple scrolling shooter, but it's I can zone out. I'm busy. I'm a mom. All the things I do, I just can get right there. I I love the Neo Geo cabinet, so I run through the different games on there. We've got Samurai Showdown and Bubble Bobble, and I don't really play the other one, but just hopping on the Neo Geo is super fun. Galaga, I love Galaga, and right now we've got a speed chip in the Miss Pac-Man. So playing Miss Pac-Man at like warp speed has been super fun. And I'm kind of been messing with Zaxxon. I don't love it, but I'm trying to love it. So it's just so unique in the way that the playfield works. The three dimensions or the dimensions that it is it's just really cool. So I don't know if that was five of them, but those are my current, like when I go into the arcade and no one's in yet, I'm going to those games.
I think that was about six, but those are all really good games. Galaga, absolutely love it. That's the inspiration for our game. That's, it's why we
Yeah.
made it. So, I totally agree that's a game that, you gotta play. And Pac-Man on like the Super Speed chip it's different. It feels like a completely different game, but I feel like I end up killing myself more than I actually like am getting points. So kind of a toss up which one I like more on that one. But yeah, so I guess the last thing that I wanted you to kind of talk about was advice for other arcade owners. Like you got over the largest hurdle. Like just getting the arcades started is usually the hardest thing to do. So
Yeah.
what advice would you give for people that are just kind of like starting to collect and want to put an arcade together? What advice would you give them for like that first like 3 months? Like be ready for this, be aware of this, like this will help you get through it.
Yeah. That's excellent. So when we were kind of putting together a business plan, we did this all in like 10 months. So kind of crazy, but again, we wanted to stick with that retro niche. And so I think knowing really what you want and what that vision looks like, you kind of have to be able to really see what it's going to be before it becomes that so you can steer in that direction. It will also help you if people, because not everybody was supportive. Some people were discouraging, some people said, good luck. I doubt you'll stay in business. And it hurt, but you're like, I know what I'm going to do. I know what I have planned. Know your budget, kind of know your people. Not having had an arcade in 50 years and not knowing what people would like, we're like, well, let's show them something that we think they'll like and package it in such a way and try to do it really well. And the retro thing, of course, has been really hot right now. So really know what you want and what vision you're going for and steer in that direction with confidence. And it's okay to be scared because it's a little scary, the financial risk and all of the investment that goes into it. But don't give up, don't get discouraged, and set that course and go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's big. You have to have the confidence that it's going to work. Like if you don't believe in it, who's going to? Like it has to start with you. And you're taking a big leap, a big risk, like just go all in on it. Like you're going to do it anyway, so do it right. And it seems like you put the time in, you put the thought in to like really make it work. Um yeah, that's all I had for you, Shar. Like I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your time. Before we close everything out, just shout out social media so that people can follow along with your journey.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This is so cool because this is, like I said, nothing really happens in Bad Axe and we're so small and we feel like it's such an honor to be given a spotlight to be able to shine in this way. So yeah, Bad Axe Retrocade. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I try to keep it fun and family friendly because we're trying to reach everyone from 8 to 88 and just have a good time. So thank you for letting me share. And if you're ever in Bad Axe, come check us out.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I definitely will if I'm ever in the area. We're about to start traveling a lot, so I might end up in that area. You never know. Thanks again, Shar, for coming on. I really appreciate it. Go check out Bad Axe Retrocade if you haven't, and if you're in the area, go check them out as well. Support a small business. If you're still watching, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us a ton. The wave will continue to grow, and we can all ride it together. We have both versions of Galactic Battleground available for sale, the Konami and the tabletop, as well as we have Food Fight Frenzy coming out soon, and all the t-shirts. The Indie Arcade Wave website is live, so I'll link that in the description. But until next time, peace.